Hi, today I'm going to show you a development build of Omnigeist.ai, and we will see how to go from the blank page to scaffolding out your story ideas as story assets, and then to export them along with a custom Scrivener project so that you could take this into that product if you wanted to continue out. I'm already logged in, so I'm just going to click over here. You can use this wizard, and what the wizard is going to do is help you to create a new project. I'm going to say advanced because I actually want to give it information about the metaverse and the bubbleverse, which just means like my IP and the timeline within there. This stuff is important because Omnigeist keeps track of all of your canon and the narratives. If you don't care about that, just click basic and give it story information. And I'm going to say this is called. What's going on here is that this is going to give you some information about how to work with it. This is what we're collecting. This shows you what we're trying to do next and when we're ready to get started. And this is a semantic interface. That just means you don't have a whole lot of buttons. You just talk to this and tell it what you want, and it does all the tool calling. I'm going to go ahead and just paste in some information about the story template that I wanted to create. We need a couple of characters. We need 3 characters. This is really just so that we can create in the database all the different entities that are required, because on the back end there's a lot of relationships that are happening. There's a little bug button up here. If something breaks, please click it and I will create this. Oh yes, yes, please. The world. And now we've checked all of our little boxes. Our little workflow has worked, and now we got a process that's making all of our stuff. We can go in here. Little tip for you: this right here, this screen with the initial progress indicator, this is static information. This is on my to-do list. You're in the dev environment, there will be some spots like that. Story context is actual. That's what we talked about in our chat. We have our foundational values, and all of the values that you see here, nothing is for nothing. All of this information is shared with AI regularly, so as you move forward and you start creating your scenes and your beats, AI's reading this and keeping it in mind for your context. So these are the characters. I just want to quickly pop one of them out, and we'll give them yeah, I guess. Okay. I'm not going to fill all that stuff out right now, but it is fun to see that you can get in here and use chat, for example, with all the entities. This character has been tested more than others, and say, for example, I don't know, what it's going to do is make a suggestion then, because like, let's say I don't. Let's say I kind of like have an idea in my head for what this Jedi or hero or whoever it is like, but I'm like, I don't know how to describe what that looks like. You can just kind of tell it what you're feeling, and this didn't have a existing value, otherwise we'd tell you this is what it was, this is what I'm recommending, and this is why, and then you can accept. Bop one of these generate a picture buttons, and then you get a picture for what your character kind of looks like. And then you can at least sit there and be like, yes, no, maybe, this is how I imagine them to be. And it gives you a place where you can ideate on. All right, there you go. And now we got a picture of Nova, one of our pilots. And maybe that's good, maybe it's not, but you can just sit here and chat and talk about it, and do the same thing with all the fields. Be like, I don't know if the Enneagram is right or the physical description, and later on it's going to, and there are things in there that might be like, why do you care about sexual orientation? Well, if you're going to write stories, and stories involve romance and interpersonal relationships, it's probably good for the AI to know, right? Like, don't lie to your lawyer or your doctor or the AI about the characters, because the AI wants to know so that when you start creating dialogues with Nova and other characters, it knows how to help you so that it can say, ideally, things like, well, this person hates that person's guts for these reasons, and what you're describing is highly unlikely, right? You want it to be like, oh, voice of reason sometimes, or help you to brainstorm. Anyways, back to over here we have characters, and then we have story structure. And this is where the system starts to get, I think, extra interesting. There are different story structures, and they're all valid. I've used freight tags, period. As a matter of fact, let me do this right here. I'm going to go over, when you log in, these existing IP structures with metaverses and bubbleverses are going to be there. And Shakespeare is the one that I've put the most time into, building out Hamlet. Hamlet uses freight tags pyramid. And then we go into the story beat situation. These pages have got little expandable sections on the top, so if you're not really sure what's happening, you should have something like that. So what this editor does is it gives you these sections like exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and denouement, because these are the stages of the freight tags period. If I at this point in time went back and tried to change the story structure, it would delete everything from story beats, scene cards, all that stuff becomes invalidated. So don't mess with that, please. Not on the Shakespeare one. You come in here and yours will be empty, right? You will just have whatever story structure you've picked broken out. And what it does is it lets you open up each one of those stages and browse through the 36 dramatic situations. And this is going to tell you what makes that situation, and if you want examples of what that is, and then you select the situation and you add it in, and then you can go and you can edit the situation, and you can provide additional context about your story and how your story's crime pursued by vengeance is relevant. And then what it's going to have is a section of required and optional characters. And what it's going to do is draw from the series of characters you'd previously defined, so that you can then associate which character plays which required role in that situation. Now, this is also something that's on the to-do list, because I think that once I can start to, because you can do this manually right now, you can just click on it and do all the stuff. But the goal is to make it so that is then tooled in, so you can chat and say, hey, this is what I plan on doing with my story. It knows how to like press the buttons and do it for you. Right now, you need to know how to do that with these screens. We're just like a couple weeks away. So then scene cards are after you've gone through all of your different steps to your story structure. Again, we're looking at this freight tags pyramid. The left-hand side, it's going to keep all of your notes so that you can reference them about the world and its history and all the characters and your locations. Then you can go into here, and for each one of the dramatic situations, it's going to remind you about exactly what's going on. It's going to show you these required roles and how you filled them all out, and then it's going to let you add scene cards. I'll show you this one. So this is a basic scene card from him. Generate cards also is one of those things where it's going to just automatically kind of fill in some of the blanks for you. And I'm trying to make this so that if somebody automatically just sort of like presses through this on lazy mode, it's not going to make anything good. But I think if somebody puts effort into this, it'll make something great. And if you just want to print this out so you can just have all of your context in a big long document, you can do that too. And then once you have all that information and you've gotten your world, we didn't even look at the world builder, we didn't even look at the, actually let me look at the world builder for you in a second. There's a magic system builder. We'll do another video on that, I think. Then you can get all the way over here to export. And when you export this, it's going to get you a zip. In the zip, you're going to find your Scrivener template. You're going to find a README with the instructions, and you're going to start getting into all of the content, including the characters, right? and all the stages that we looked at, the story beats, all that information is going to get extracted with you, and you can bring it in Scrivener if you want to. Of course, I'll just be adding in a content management system because that's what I did for 25 years. This was the only part that was new and novel. The CMS part's trivial. Thanks for watching.